Hello and welcome back to Stroup Mansion. I'm Kayla and today I have a roof update, kind of, I guess. But since it's been over a month since I first made a video about this, let's do a little recap. We're getting a new roof. So in 2020 when we bought, we knew that our big spooky brick Italianate mansion was going to need a new roof at some point. Because there wasn't an active leak, it just kind of got pushed to the back burner. It's a massive project, and even just thinking about it and how much it was going to cost just made my brain shut down. We came into 2024 going, this is the year, we have to get it done this year. We don't want to wait until it's too late and like we desperately need a roof. Like, I still want it to be our choice. So that's why we went into this year and we're like, we're gonna do it. Our friends ended up getting their roof done earlier this spring, so that was the push that we needed just to get our butts in gear. We contacted their roofers. Their roofers came out and gave us an estimate and got to work basically right away. It was a very, very quick process of like, hey Jeff, you should call those people, and oh, they start on Monday? Kind of just a whirlwind thing of scrambling to get money together, and it all happened so quickly. But honestly, I kind of think that's just how house stuff goes, because when I think about the process of buying this house, it went from like, oh, let's go look at a house to holy cow, that's gonna be ours in like a matter of a day. Anyway, getting sidetracked there. All of that to say, it happened very quickly that we started this process of getting a new roof. At the time of my last video, the roofers had just finished up, and despite that one day where it was raining in the house when they weren't done with the roof yet, it was a fine process. Like, I didn't super love having people at the house. It was at the time very like overwhelming to have so many people just working on the house and buzzing about. But now that I look back on it, that was kind of cool. Listen, I don't want people here working on the house all of the time. That was a lot for me, the person who really enjoys being alone. But the roofers were incredible. They worked hard, they worked long hours. They made the project look like it was no sweat, and I'm sure it was actually a lot of sweat because it was a very, very hot week. We have had some massive rains since the roofers finished up, including one that actually knocked out the power for literal days. And I'm happy to report that we are watertight, baby. We've got no leaks. So that feels so good. That is such a relief. I mean, like I said, we never had any active leaks while we were living here except for like one time, and it was an ice-related thing. But it always felt like it was a threat. Like every big storm, it was just kind of like, is this the one that's gonna come down the wall? You know, like, am I gonna wake up and the house is just gonna be soaked inside? And it feels so good to have that off of my back. That is not a weight that is on my mind anymore. I mean, I know it can always happen, but let's not go down that path in our brains. After the roofers left, it was time for the carpenter to come in and do all of the fascia and the soffit and all of the trim work. That is when you last heard from me. That was back at the end of June, and he was estimating that his work would take around 13 days to finish up. It is now mid-August, and I am still patiently waiting for my house to be finished. Before I go any further here, I just want to preemptively say that I know that this is very hard work, and that is precisely why I opted to hire out on this job. I know that I can handle any job that I set my mind to, but I also think it is very wise to know when to step back and let professionals do it, and that is definitely the case with this project. I was not into doing it myself. I'm forever thankful I don't have to be up there on a ladder working on this roof. I will have to go up and paint soon though. Anyway, all of that to say, if you were my carpenter and you happen to see this somehow, hello, hi. You're doing a wonderful job. I appreciate you. Thank you. This is nothing against you. That being said, holy smokes, I am ready for my roof to be done. I'm not even doing anything roof related, and I am tired. I think the big thing here is that everything was a bit more rotten than anyone expected. It didn't look great to begin with, but when the soffit was removed, which is this underneath part here, it was revealed that basically all of that was just being held on by hopes and dreams and a little bit of love. I think it was like the second day that the carpenter was here. When he started like removing stuff, he realized that things were a lot worse than he thought, and he ended up calling his big boss. And then Jeff texts me while he's at work, and he's like, hey, so-and-so, big boss, text me and let me know that he's gonna meet me at the house when I get home from work to discuss what the carpenter found. And I was just like, what? My stomach dropped. I felt so anxious and out of control, and like everything that could go bad was going bad. I was just so anxious that they were gonna like quit on us or tell us it was gonna be another 10,000 or just something else that was too big to handle. I took this selfie while I was waiting for Jeff to get home because I was so stressed and I felt like you could like visibly see my stress. Listen, I'm like low-key stressed all of the time, which is why I'm so productive, but I feel like this was one of the few times where you could like see my stress. Like my face was so red and it like hurt. Anyway, it wasn't really that big of a deal. When like Jeff left, I was like, of course I did not go out and meet the big boss guy with Jeff. Like I just stayed in the house and paced. And when Jeff came back in, he was like, oh, they just wanted us to know that they're gonna need more lumber and it's gonna be like another 1,000. And obviously like it's not great to spend even more money, but it is nice to know that our house isn't going to be held together with hopes and dreams anymore, and it's going to be put together with actual wood. So like obviously it wasn't that big of a deal, and it's so funny to like look back on how I felt that day when Jeff was like, he's gonna meet me here to talk about what the carpenter found, and I just thought like, oh no, it's over. And it's felt like that so many times throughout this process where it's just been like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. And then it ends up being like fine. And you'd think that like at some point my brain would be like, chill, it's fine, it's gonna work out. But that's not how my brain works. So while we're talking about things that the carpenter found, I went outside after he left on that first day and I looked up and I spotted these. Those are carpet squares. I feel like if you guys have watched my other videos where like the house tour where you see what it looked like when we bought it. And I'm just tripping on things. There's like carpet squares everywhere, which obviously have to go. You guys, I hate carpet squares. I hate carpet squares so much. Somebody left a comment on Instagram and was like, the carpet squares are haunting you in the house. And that is truly what it feels like. Why are they in the roof? I mean, I guess like insulation, I guess, but I hate them. I'm gonna throw a party when the last one is removed from this house. But how strange to see them like just floating up there. Another little surprise that has happened recently is that they originally weren't going to replace the roof on top of our porch and the little like balcony area outside of my plant room. But then they realized that the fascia and the soffit plan they had didn't really work with the roof that was there. Not to mention the roof is in really bad shape. They have asked us multiple times if we are sure that it is not leaking into our living room because the roof right there is so bad. That's good news-ish for a couple reasons. One is just because like when I was shooting with my drone, it looked really ugly that didn't match. That does mean though that the little spindles that are out there on the balcony will need taken down. Obviously those are getting saved. And this actually kind of works out because the porch actually used to have those same spindles on it. In this photo from 2010, I think this was when the house originally went up for sale. Not originally. When the house went up for sale and then was abandoned before the previous owner bought it, it had those on there. And Jeff and I have always thought that looked so pretty and thought about like, oh, like definitely have to replace those someday. And having to take the ones on my balcony down gives us a really good opportunity to use them as a template to make new spindles. So I'm excited about that. A little bit nervous because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of wood to source and that's a lot of spindles to make. But I think it'll be really cool. It'll be really impactful when it's done. I don't know that that's going to get tackled this year, but I'm excited about it. Side note here, if you have not seen my staircase video where my dad and I made spindles for my staircase, you should go watch that because I think it's very cool. So I think it's fair to say that I'm a little bit disappointed the roof isn't done yet. I definitely thought it would be done by now. I did not imagine that we would be in mid-August and still like no end in sight. It's frustrating. I'm disappointed, but what are you gonna do, you know? It's hard for me to estimate how far along they are. The back half of the house, all of the wood has been replaced. The fascia and the soffit are up, but I still think that like there's a couple more pieces that go on it to like seal the roof in. I don't really know. And the front half of the house, it is maybe 40% demoed. Like, they still have a lot of stuff that needs removed before they can start putting up new stuff. It is definitely more work on the front half of the house because there are all of these decorative pieces that they are working around. They are not removing those. So yeah, that's definitely a lot more work. It's not just ripping down big sheets and then adding up big sheets. It's a lot of like beep boop, beep boop, beep boop. Does that make sense? Beep boop, beep boop. Also still need gutters done. Obviously, I think that would be the last thing added, but I'm getting so excited about that because, like I said, we've had some really good rains and I still have to close my windows or else rain pours in, but I am just aching for the day that I can have the windows open while it rains so that I don't sound like a whiner jerk. Here are some positive things about this process so far. Those stupid downspouts that were doing absolutely nothing, they are gone, baby. And I feel like instantly the look of the house is so much prettier. Here's a clip for you to enjoy of me waving goodbye to the downspouts when I saw them outside, and then realizing that the carpenter was right there and feeling like an idiot. I don't think he saw me waving at the downspouts, but I feel like if he did, he probably thought I was waving at him, which would be like even weirder that I'm upstairs in a bedroom like, oh. Anyway, that's so good that those are gone. That dangly corner of the saggy roof, gone. That was truly one of the ugliest things about this house. Like, the whole roof needed work. It was nothing to write home about. But that particular section of saggy roof just, it made me feel ashamed. I don't know why. Like, it was like that when we bought the house, but it just looked so scummy to have that saggy roof. Another positive is that despite how over this I am, how ready I am to have my yard back to myself, how ready I am to have a clean yard, how ready I am for all of that lumber to be out of my yard so that I have nice grass again, and how ready I am for my house to be back to, like, just looking good, is that I'm so happy that I'm not doing this project. For once, it's not me holding up a project. I don't have to worry about the weather. I don't have to worry about how hot it is someday. Yeah, I'm trying very hard to stay positive about this, that things are happening. They're happening much slower than I would like them to, but they are getting done. I'm not the one on the ladder. Hopefully this is all finished up very soon. September 1st is the start of Halloween to me. That is when I like to start decorating, and obviously I don't really want to put Maurice, my 12-foot skeleton son, outside while they're working, like, especially because that's kind of probably where they will be at that point, since the front half of the house is what still needs work. I'm just really hoping that for spooky season, the house can have a whole new look where she looks the least spooky that she's looked in a very long time. Cross your fingers for that. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope that I will have finished footage here for you very shortly. Like I said, cross your fingers. Cross your fingers and your toes and your legs and your ears and your hair. Cross your hair.